Hello, 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 and welcome to Megan DiMartino Live, Hope and Possibilities. I am in the office of We Are Not Broken's studio and Celtic Viking Studios as well here on the Georgetown Square. And I was doing some work with Nick Austin today, and I decided to film my first Megan DiMartino Live from here because it is National Women's History Month. And I have gotten involved with We Are Not Broken. I'll share a little bit about that with you in this. But I wanted to come live today, kick it off. And it's tied together with my new blog and an e-blast structure that we're doing. And I'm a work in progress, kids. I mean, I have been, I was just on a call with someone who I truly admire. Her name is Terry Collins, and she's just an amazing businesswoman, financier, as well as real estate investor and so forth. She lives in Maryland or Delaware. And I was just saying, the mode of what I did for years, was the same, so to speak. What I mean by that, manufacturing and selling to salon spas, medical spas. And then in 2004-05, when I came to Georgetown and started the Novitas Spa and Medical Rejuvenation Clinic, basically focusing on selling the products through this spa/medical spa. And of course, always selling to these estheticians and spas and medical spas that we had over the years. But I really wasn't building that mode of business. And now, meaning new business. We were just maintaining that business. And of course, new clients would come. They would hear about us through, just word of mouth. But it was a very different type of structure when I was selling through wholesale beauty distributors and selling through the United States, and did do some exporting as well. But it was through wholesale beauty distributors who in turn sold to salon spas and medical spas. And I would do workshops and education and consulting for them. And then, as I said, I started the Novitas Spa, which evolved to the Medical Rejuvenation Clinic in 2005. And so I was growing that business over the last 17 years. So it was brick and mortar and wholesale. So that was my genre. And then I sold the spa as an asset purchase, meaning the brick and mortar, but not the trade name, not meaning of Novitas Spa, and not the product line itself, and not the shopping cart. So this transpired in June of 2020. And so we've been redoing the website. And I hesitate because I also have a new website called megandimartino.com. And I'll tell you about that in a minute. But the Novitas Spa site is linked to the Megan DiMartino, but separate. The shopping cart is on that, so you can purchase the Novitas Spa products. Now, locally here in Georgetown and the Austin area, right now I have 3 locations, including in addition to, I should say, the spa that I sold that still does carry the line, but the Pink Poppy, which is a lovely boutique here, and then there's a wellness center called Anchored Wellness, and they carry the products. And then also the Jonah Salon and Co., which is in Jonah, Texas, which is a little outside of Georgetown. And I'm going to be expanding that into the Austin market very soon. I also have put together a program with L Aesthetic and Longevity, which it has a company that has 4 medical spas in this Austin, Texas market. And they're in downtown Austin, Westlake, Lakeway, and Leander, which means nothing to you guys who are listening to me around the country and around the world. But my point is, I hate the term pivot, as my dear friend Darlene Templeton calls it, and I'll explain why I don't like pivot, but I'm swirling or twirling or whatever the word, but I call it evolving. So something that I've done forever, I'm talking about the last 30 years of my career, the genre, the mode, the structure, the essence of that structure of business has been one way. but I sold the brick and mortar, and here I have the product line. So yes, I got it securely set up here where our clients can purchase it, meaning the clients that had been with me at the spa. So that goes into the, the 4 locations. And then the relationship with L-Aesthetic and longevity. I'm going to be doing my regenerative stem cell there, meaning they're physicians. And so we're putting that program together with R3 stem cell. So that's getting organized. But then I am evolving, and I'm going to be evolving in so many different modes of not only the retail of this, but the consulting, because essentially I have been consulting with businesses, business owners and trainers and educators, and then my own staff, meaning the leader of this business, and training them. So I've been doing this for many, many years, as I said, 30 really. Prior to that, I worked for other companies in national sales and marketing. And so, of course, I was doing education, but really more marketing and working directly with the distributor as well as the sales consultants that were working through it. So I wasn't working B2B. It was more from a business to business. I was really working internally with that company, so to speak. So I have that experience, but for the last 28 years of my own business, it has been what I just shared. So it's never too early or too late to create the life of your dreams. Today, I am working on not only putting together a business course called Propel Accelerator Business, Start, Scale, and Sustain the Business and Life of Your Dreams, and that will be ready for sale in early April. But I'm also putting together a new program for the products that will enable people to not only purchase them, but an affiliate type program where they can also encourage or introduce, I guess, the products to people that they love. People that they know, and share that they love these products. So it's going to have a new mode of, let's call it retail, where you can purchase them, use them for yourself, but then share them with others and make some income on it. And so, was that something I've ever done? Absolutely not. Did I understand it? Absolutely not. Or was I aware of it? Absolutely not. But now that I'm working on, as I said, this course, it just behooved me to look into modes because of sale, because there are going to be people like you that will buy this course and then say, gee, I really would like to expand my territory, so to speak, expand my territory of what I'm selling. And maybe you don't sell anything. And maybe you've said, I need to sell something. A friend of mine has a fabulous business in Little Rock, Arkansas, and she is known as the eyelash queen, Carla Runner. And she's an esthetician, as I am, and she has been doing the work of facials and treatments, but in the last probably 10 plus years, she is focused on building a base of business with eyelash extensions. Well, guess what happened? March came a year ago right now, and she could not have clients come into her studio. She was out of business for months. That's not a good thing. Many people have recognized the silver lining to the pandemic dynamic is that they were forced to look at the ways they do business and how they can change and expand and evolve. And so Carla said, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I mean, in the beginning, it was kind of a forced vacation or, just a mode. But as months went on, it was not good. And during that season, someone introduced Carla to Tori Bell magnetic lashes. And she started selling it, yes, initially, but now she has implemented that into the structure of her. She's now open, and she's implemented that internally to even eyelash clients. And so people are realizing that there are different things that they can do to add to their multi-stream of income, and that will not be put, as she said to me, I'll never be put in that place again. And so that is my goal, is to take all of the ears of information and experience. It's not just information like reading a book. It's implementing it black and white, these tools that I have implemented and built 3 7-figure businesses and sold 2. So it is something that I am going to bring to you. So I'm going to share back to what I started talking about, National Women's History Month. So that's my history. That is what I've been doing early. When I went to college for fashion merchandising in DC, Washington, DC, outside of DC, and Marymount in Arlington, Virginia. And it was during a very similar time, and I talk about this in my book, Hope and Possibilities Just Over the Horizon. But it was a very similar time as it is today, very polarized, very political. It was the really explosive time of the Vietnam War, and I was in DC. And the cool thing, that's the quotation marks around it, was to march. And it was like, march for what? Meaning it was not something that I was involved with, I knew of, meaning I was a little Catholic girl going to a Catholic girls' school, high school. So, I mean, it wasn't something that was on my internal radar. And so when I got there, this was the thing to do. Well, whether I agreed or disagreed was not the point. The point was I was there because I have always been, always a creative. And I was always doing things that on some level was taking things to market. I mean, I wouldn't have called myself an entrepreneur, at 8 to 18, but I would share with you that I, was always putting on kind of the producer of shows and plays, and I'd get beads and put them together and have the girls and the girls, and we'd sit and do those things and sell them, and little bracelets and different necklaces. I mean, I was always doing things like that. So I knew as I knew that I wanted to create, and I was going to school to glean information and then get the show on the road. But it was truly diverted, or it could have been truly diverted by this time, because I was very confused. I really had no foundation. I had no North Star. I just knew I wanted to work, and I knew I wanted to create and take it to market. What that was, on some level, I thought I'd go into fashion design, but I wasn't 100% sure. But the summer during that season, one of the summers in college, I needed to, not needed to, but it was part of the program, to work as an intern in the industry. So I got a job at Lord & Taylor in Manhattan, because I lived, initially I grew up on Long Island, but my parents had moved to Manhattan by this point. Even if I had lived on Long Island, I would have commuted. But I got a job at Lord & Taylor and was working there in an intern program. And I was working for this amazing woman. Her name was Letty Peppard, and she was the buyer for designer sportswear. And back in the day, in 1970, there was no such thing as sportswear as we know it today. But it was Aquascutum raincoats, Lilly Pulitzer Coach bags, and there was in those days, and Bodine Cashin was the founder and designer of Coach. And that turnkey lock that you'd see on the original Coach bags, and they've brought them back. They had rainwear or all-weather wear, really cool with leather piping with the turnkey lock. It was just so fun and so interesting, and I so enjoyed working with her. And so she said to me, don't go back, stay with me, and go to FIT, which is Fashion Institute of Technology, and which is one of the premier fashion schools in the United States. And that was my plan. That was, I'm sharing history, kids. I'm sharing history here. And that was really my plan. And then I was such a fish out of water. That was the summer of, it was still just very tumultuous. And that summer when I was there and we were discussing this, I wanted to go to some rock concerts and things. And my father said, "Oh, no, you cannot do that." So instead of going to a rock concert, because Woodstock had already happened, instead of doing that, with some friends, I should have gotten an apartment for myself, but that was not what I was, 19. I wasn't brought up to do that. That was not the way I thought. Now, kids today, that is what they would have done, but I didn't. And what did I do? I married my boyfriend. Now, in my mind, I wasn't giving up my goals, dreams, and aspirations. I just saw it as not an evolution, not at all, but that was like setting the foundation. Okay, because I am very family oriented, and so that fit into that genre or that heart and mindset. So I'll get married and the white picket fence type thing, because I love designing and interior designing. So I'll do that. I remember thinking this, I honestly do. And I then will go to FIT and continue on in my career. But after getting married, I got pregnant. And so that wasn't that wasn't what's the word I want? A devastating thing. It was not timely in that plan, but it was part of my history. It was part of my history. And so we all have things that happen in our lives that alter the course of what you think you might be doing. But does that mean that you're going to stop or give away or say that won't ever happen again? Now, if it truly wasn't in your heart, well, then maybe you'll go on and evolve to something new. Absolutely. But the core foundational piece to me is that I have to create or I can't breathe. And so I just, without sharing today my next pieces, which I'll share during the course of visiting with you, but I continued on. Obviously, I worked for a while and then didn't for a period of time. But after, I would say less than a year, probably about a year, I started working again in the industry, so to speak. But that again is another piece, but it was part of my heart. Now, I didn't know my purpose and I really wasn't aware of my passion other than, meaning cognitively, other than knowing that I had to create. I had to do creative things. So what did I do? I decorated my little apartment or our little apartment and just had a blast doing that and had my daughter and, just on and on. On and on, meaning life, family, and then my personal goals, dreams, and desires. But I never stopped interweaving those in my personal life. Those are really part of me as well. Anyone that knows me well knows that the career path that I took is part and parcel integrating who I am as a person, meaning that I love people. I care about people. I want to help people. I want to share with people. I want to know about you. I want to know how I then can help you. So I shared in this blog and post about back to Women's History Month that we all have a history. We all have a history. It is part of us, of who we are, what our goals, dreams, and desires are. But I hear often, I don't know my purpose. How do you find your purpose? And finding is, it's not like, 3 feet from gold and excavating, looking for your gold mine. As you're doing life, your purpose will be really revealed to you. And I learned over time, and it was not something that I knew as a younger person. I'm talking about in my 20s. But once I met Jesus on the Damascus Road, I recognized that, and I really didn't understand it initially, but as time went on, I really understood that I had been working in my purpose and my passion. I just didn't understand that it was God given to me, meaning that, as I shared, your purpose is revealed to you. Your passion, as I share with people, just sit down with a legal pad with a pencil and draw a line in the middle and write what you love to do and what you don't love to do, and you'll find your passion. Meaning it could be anything. Meaning you could be a stockbroker and hate it, and then do that exercise and really go within and look and see what you love. And it could be, well, I love to cook. Well, maybe you should go to the Culinary Institute, get some training and look into that. Maybe you have an entrepreneurial background, but you're working in something that you really don't have a passion for. Do that exercise and it'll be revealed to you. Your purpose and passion really go hand in glove. But as I shared in this blog, in this e-blast today, that, when you understand the great I am, we are part of the great I am, and who I am will be revealed to you through the power of the Holy Spirit. And so over time, I recognized, and by this point, I had started my first brand, Glycolique. I had moved to Texas, this New York girl, packed up, and my younger daughter was 11, and my older daughter was moving. She was finishing senior year of high school. So she stayed on Long Island and finished her senior year. And she had applied to go to University of Colorado early admission. So she was on her journey. So she did not move to Texas, but my 11-year-old did. And so we both, moved and had an amazingly different experience, but settling into Texas. But as I was sharing that, when I met Jesus and I was learning the Word of God and putting that into my spirit, I was excuse me for a second. I have my vitamin little capsule in there because I don't eat a lot of vegetables. I should, but I don't. But I have been putting this in my water for a long time, and it's great because it's chock full of spinach and kale and broccoli and all sorts of good stuff. But anyhow, everyone around me in Fort Worth, Texas, was speaking about this Jesus. And I really didn't have a personal relationship. I did not. And so I said, tell me about this Jesus that you know. And these people, from my secretary to my nail tech to my stylist, the people that I would talk to, because I didn't know many people. And I did travel and business too, but I'm talking about intimate people that surrounded me. And it was, then one of them took me to church, and it was a very different experience. And from there, I've just built a relationship. And as that evolved, I really got more in touch with, and many people call it your intuition, many people call it gut, but I grew to really listen to my internal voice, that internal voice. And I call it my chessboard. I go into prayer, meditation, I'm reading the word, I'm reading my devotionals, and I pay attention to that inner voice. So there are 3 things that I want to share today with you about building your history. Because, yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. God's gift to us is today. That's why they call it the present. That's a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. And so your history is behind. It's fact. Too many people stay in their history, and they just get stuck in their history. There is a point of reference to it, Like I shared about that story, but I don't think about that. I'm not stuck there. It's just part of my history. And why I shared it today with you is because I wanted to let you know, like I shared about when I started, about doing my Novital business, product development, product sale, and then spa, and evolving the spa into a medical rejuvenation clinic and a wellness spa as well. I called it a hybrid. So I sold that genre, doing business. I did that for years. But it's time to evolve to a new direction of that. Not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, but taking all that experience and that information and studying how people are, and structures, how they're selling products, how they're doing consulting and helping others, and then bringing it to you. So that's why I shared that. But why I shared my early career story from school and so forth. And here comes Nick, and here's Nick. But why? No, come on in. Say hi. Hi. We're talking about history, Nick. We're talking about everyone's evolving and history.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
which you've done many times, and you're in a new iteration of your life. But why I shared about back in the early stages of my career is not A, to share history, but B, is to share that, yes, something happened that was not part of my plan, but it was okay. It didn't derail me. I evolved in a little different direction. And that's part of me, because family and friends and family and tradition is so important to me. So I just started a little bit earlier than I had planned. So it's not about throwing it out the window and saying, can't do that. It just took on a different path. So you have to listen, and God will speak to you. And that's why I share then, how did I, and everyone has a different path of this, truly. But for me, I learned this to build my intuition, my Holy Spirit intuition, by the word and the power of God. And so with that, I always go within and listen. Because like I said, when this gentleman approached me about selling my business, which was in end of March 2020, it wasn't on my radar. But I went within and I prayed about it and I thought about it from the standpoint of how would that affect me at the place I am right now, and what that would afford me, not just financially, but with time to do things like I'm talking about with you, time that I'm sharing with you. So it gave me that opportunity. So I listened, I went within, and then I trusted that instinct, because you have to learn to trust it, because if you ignore it, you will make many mistakes. So it was brought to me, and I'm going to share one little piece to this. It was brought to me on March 31st, meaning this man literally knocked on my door and asked in the door of the spa, because 10 days earlier, on March 21st, when we were told to lock our doors and not have people in for services, I sat there and just prayed after my staff left, and I said, now what, Lord? Now what? And I heard very clearly, don't go dark. I didn't really know exactly what that meant, but I knew that it meant don't alter anything, really. Get up, do your morning routine, get dressed, and come down to the spa. And then that's when I started doing more and more lives, did it with my staff. That evolved into Motivation Monday. Then that evolved somewhat separately, but into Unique Leaders, which is not today, but meaning we're doing that. And that has grown a lot. And I'll mention that in a minute. But so I didn't go dark. So then on March 31st, that man knocked on my door. And who knows, if I had not been there, might he gone on to some other spa to see, because he was building a kind of a network. He wanted to buy some spas in the marketplace and in the Austin area. And would he have come back? Probably. But who knows? Who knows? But the Lord gave me that Holy Spirit unction, that inner voice, that still small voice saying, don't go dark, come every day, And with that, I was there when this man came a knocking. So then, as I said, I sold it. I prayed about it, thought about it, looked at it, visualized it, saw what I wanted to really do. And then we closed. And so these months I've been building all of these new projects which are truly have come together and continue to come together. So listen, trust that voice, trust it, and take action. You must take action. I say this every time I go live, that you must take action. Because if you don't take action, it's just an unrequited dream. It's just a thought that might mature into a more of a concrete thing. But if you don't take action, it will never be. And how many people just stop and have the dreams, goals, and aspirations that were unfulfilled, and therefore that's one of the saddest things in life, is to look back and say, I wish I had done. I don't have any regrets. If the history looks different than I might have said it would be, but I don't have any regrets, because I'm going to continue to evolve and continue to build upon what I have done. You don't have to stop, even if it is a different genre. Like I use the example of a stockbroker going into something else, like let's say culinary school, and preparing, but using your skills and doing something that you just love. Because if you do something you love, you will never work another day in your life, ever. To me, it's just a continuation of what I've done, what I've loved, and I will continue to help people grow, help people find their own dreams, goals, and aspirations, start them, scale them, sustain them, because those are two very different things, but they are doing what they love. So listen to that voice. Listen. Trust it. We have to trust it, because that's where so many people also fail. And fail is not the right word, but they listen to all those voices that they've heard, all those, oh, you shouldn't do this. Oh, you don't have the background. Oh, you don't have enough money. Oh, you da-da-da. Forget about it. Stop. Listen to your voice. Listen to your inner spirit. Trust it. And then take action. But you don't have to go to the bank and borrow, $500,000. Start small and go big. Take that first step. The second and third step will be revealed to you. But you have to take action. You have a history. You have things that are a burning desire in your spirit. You know that these are things that you'd like to do. Maybe you have many things. So pray about it. Listen. Try one of them. Because generally speaking, if there are many thoughts and ideas, they all are in the same genre, and just try one of them. And that's what I'm going to do with this course, is to help you cull through that, to identify your dreams, goals, and aspirations through the 5 C's, which is clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, and compassion. And we'll go through this in a general sense with Megan DiMartino Live. I'm so excited to be here with you. Share this out with your friends. These are the core is to listen, to trust, and take action. And we'll go through all of the start, scale, and sustain in a general. It'll be out where you can purchase it somewhere early April. But the Novitas Spa clinical products, I'm putting on a new platform that you can take advantage of, for yourself, because they're for anyone from 8 to 108 who has skin. That means you. And that means for your teen, your so forth, for everyone. It's a simple, safe, synergistic system. It's a clean line. Enough said about that. But that will be on a platform that you can not only purchase for yourself, but also then sell it to others and introduce it to others and make an income from it. And that can be part of your start piece to your own next step. Thank you for joining me today. On Friday on Unique Leaders Live, we have Melissa Burrow. Melissa is one of my I have coaches. I would not have coaches. And I have several coaches in different dynamics of my need. And so she is she has one of her first book, and she's working on her second, is accountability. And that is a very important piece to the start, scale, and sustain. If you are not accountable to each piece and yourself, it doesn't happen. So that's a key thing, which we'll go into, and that's part of the, the Propel program. But she is my guest on Unique Leaders Live. And if you've never watched Unique Leaders, it's at 4:00 Central on Fridays. It's live. So it's live into YouTube and live into LinkedIn. And then it goes back up onto Instagram. But then it is made into a podcast, and it's on all the podcasting platforms. And I think it goes live on the podcast by Tuesday. So it's a great program because you get to hear their story. It's all about them, because the success, like I shared a little nuggets here, right? Excuse me. But people ask me all the time, how could I do what you do? I could never do what you do. I wouldn't have any idea. Guess what? I didn't know either. I just knew what was that inner voice that I had to create. I knew that was what I needed to do in my life. Didn't mean that was the only thing I was going to do. Meaning I've been a wife and a mother and a grandmother. These are things and dear friends that I've had since I was 10 that are so important to me. So friends and family and tradition are greatly foundationally important to me. But I could not be me without doing what I've done. And you are my purpose, to help others identify their dreams, goals, aspirations, help you start, scale them, and sustain the business and life of your dreams. So visit with Melissa and I on Friday, 4:00 Central, again, live stream. It comes into my personal Facebook page like this is, but also will be on YouTube, so you can go back to it. You can also go back to listen replay and on my Facebook, and then also on podcast on the Monday or Tuesday of the next week. Hope you enjoyed this, and I look forward to visiting with you every Wednesday. So put that on your calendar too. We came in at 2:30 Central, and we probably will do it around noon on Wednesdays, but watch for me, and I'll let you know when we're going live. But Elizabeth and I, my producer and my assistant and my right hand, we're trying to analyze when best to do it. So I'll let you know by email, by posting on Facebook and Instagram what time. But we did come on 2:30 on Central. So we'll see you next Wednesday for Megan DiMartino Live. And then we'll see you this Friday, the 5th of March at 4:00 Central with Melissa Burrows on Unique Leaders Live. But share this segment out. Share it with your friends. Tell them Megan's here, and with information about hope and infinite possibilities just over the horizon. It's never too early, never too late to create the life of your dreams. Have a blessed day, and we'll see you Friday. Thank you for joining me.